The repeal of Glass-Steagall was the first step in the long line of steps that led to the Great Recession. Post-Great Recession, legal policies that were put into place put up some safeguards that basically protected the public, particularly consumers, particularly financial consumers. The Trump administration is basically pulling all those apart, or at least is announcing their intention to do so. I noticed in your handout about your comments about Glass-Steagall, and I thank you for that. But more importantly, I'm assuming that your position is that we need to maintain the integrity of the laws that basically are protecting consumers and protecting our financial institutions. That seems to be a minority party position, not a majority party position. What can a minority party do to reenact the safeguards that need to be in place?
Thank you for this important question. I'm actually surprised that this is our 6th of 7 town halls in the last 10 days or so, and this is the first question that we've gotten about Wall Street reform. So thank you for bringing this up. And it's important that you brought it up because I think too many people in many different areas have been lulled into a sense of false complacency, thinking that reforms were made through the Dodd-Frank Act that have dealt with the problems that led to the 2008 crash, when I think you're very well aware that that is just not the case, and that these big banks conducting these risky practices are even bigger today than they were back then. So the risk has not been removed. Yes, I strongly support reinstating Glass-Steagall. There is a bipartisan bill that I am a co-sponsor of that would do exactly that. I'm going to call out a Republican congressman, Walter Jones from North Carolina, because he is a bold and courageous fellow who has taken a position that many in his party have not taken. And so you said, how does the minority party deal with trying to both maintain the laws that exist, but also to try to make sure that further reforms are passed? I'll be very honest with you. This is not a Democrat versus Republican issue. That there are too many people and many people who serve on the Financial Services Committee that is tasked with oversight of this industry in Congress who do not feel that further reforms need to be made, who do not support the reinstatement of Glass-Steagall, Democrats and Republicans. So how do we fix this? How do we bring about this change? It comes from the grassroots and holding leaders accountable, of asking questions and making it so that at town halls that are happening across the country, more and more people are bringing up this question, saying, will you sign on to the bill to reinstate Glass-Steagall? This will put people on the spot to try to defend their position, which to me is a very indefensible position about why Wall Street should be able to continue to run rampant, abusing the public trust and being in a situation where there is greater risk today than there was before. I want to give a shout out to our community banks because, so many of the regulatory issues that were included within Dodd-Frank to address the problems on Wall Street have unfortunately had the negative unintended consequence on our local small and community banks of increasing their compliance staff, like going from 2 people to 50 people. I mean, it has really been incredible when you look at the impact that this has had on the local banks who were not problematic, who were not the bad actors in this situation, what they are continuing to go through that basically gets passed on to the consumer. It makes things more difficult to the consumer. Meanwhile, Wall Street remains largely unchecked. So as we look at financial reforms, we've got to address both of these situations, both to help our community banks, our local banks, but also to talk about true reforms on Wall Street. one of the challenges is, I'll tell you, with a lot of the bills that come before us that help to try to address the community bank overregulation, they are often paired with bills that give a helping hand out to Wall Street banks, all wrapped into one package. And this is done intentionally so that if you want to help support community banks, you've got to make a decision. Well, am I also going to give a handout to Wall Street or not? And this is, bills should be put forward to stand on their own merit rather than lumped together into these packages where you've got to try to decide what's the lesser of evils here. So my answer, unfortunately, is a little long-winded, but I'm excited to talk about this issue because it is so important to all of us. Too many people are still struggling to get back what was lost in 2008 when their lives were ruined by this. And we as a community are going to be the impetus for this change in Washington to be able to try to bring about this accountability.
Okay.
Thank you.